Today is Thursday, June 23rd, 2011. I am Apostle W. Peters, and this is The Last Days Ministries. Thank you for tuning in and listening to part 2 of this message titled, The Islamic and Catholic Connection. In this series, we are examining 3 main points. 1, is it possible that both Islam and the Roman Catholic Church both worship the same God? 2, is the Roman Catholic Church and Islam both spiritually connected? And 3, does both the Roman Catholic Church and Islam both have a history of violence? We covered the first 2 points in last week's message, so if you haven't heard last week's message, then I encourage you to go back and listen to that message before you listen to this one, because only then will this week's message make more sense to you. In last week's message, we covered just how closely related the Roman Catholic faith is with the Islamic faith and how they both share very similar views concerning their religion. We also examined factual evidence that clearly showed that they both believe in the same God, Allah, which is not the God of the Bible or of the Christian. But in this week's lesson, I want to reveal how the God of the Bible is love, and the God of the Qur'an, Allah, is violent, and therefore calls for his followers to also be violent. The Bible reads in 1 John chapter 4, verse 8, "He who does not love does not know God, for God is love." So here it is clear to see that the root of Christianity is love, and the God of the Bible is love. However, the Quran reads in Surah chapter 5, verse 51, "O ye who believe, do not take the Jews and the Christians for friends. They are friends of each other, and whoever amongst you takes them for a friend, then surely he is one of them. Surely Allah does not guide the unjust people." The Quran also goes on to say in Surah chapter 9, verse 123, "O believers, fight the unbelievers who are near you, and let them find you in a harshness, and know that Allah is with the God-fearing." The Quran also goes on to say in Surah chapter 9, verse 5, "Slay the idolaters wherever ye find them, and take them captive, and besiege them, and prepare for them each ambush." Looking at these scriptures, it becomes clear to see that the Muslim is encouraged by their God, or Allah, to be violent and kill Christians, Jews, and any non-believer in whom they like to refer to as a kuffar, which means an infidel or an unbeliever. It also becomes clear to see that the God of the Bible, Jesus Christ, the Lord of all, and who Christians worship, is the way of love and peace. And due to the fact that these 2 religions have strikingly opposing views, it has led to much violence and bloodshed. And many Christians and Jews have lost their lives to both Islamic extremists and Roman Catholic extremists over the ages. Many people are unaware of this fact, but there was a period of time called the Inquisition, in which over 5 million Christians were tortured and killed for their faith in the God of the Bible and Jesus for preaching his word pure and uncensored. In fact, for 1,500 years, the Papacy of the Roman Catholic Church systematically tortured and killed 5 million people. During the Spanish Inquisition and other Christian torture and killing campaigns, the popes approved the use of some of the most horrific torture devices known to man. These Christian sadistic torture machines were designed to prolong suffering, in which the purpose was, in their opinion, to cleanse sins. So they would prolong suffering for as long as possible before death. There were 13 main torture devices that the Papacy and the Roman Catholic Church would use in order to punish Christians. And I warn you, this is difficult information to receive. In fact, it was difficult for me as I was studying this over the years and preparing preparing it to be spoken. However, I must go through the list for you now, and I pray that by the grace of God you are able to receive this hard truth. The first method of torture used by the papacy of the Roman Catholic Church was the Judas chair, also known as the cradle. This pyramid-shaped top was forced into the victim's anus or vagina. The time it took the victim to die varied. Torturers would add weights to the victim's legs to increase pain and speed up death. Other torturers would put oil on the device, which increased pain and suffering. Next was the Pope's pear. The vaginal pear was used on women. The rectal pear was used on homosexuals, and the oral pear was used on heretical preachers or laypersons found guilty of unorthodox practices. Inserted into the mouth, anus, or vagina, the pear was expanded by screwing until the insides of the victim were ripped, stretched, and mutilated, almost always causing death. Next was the boots. This was designed for the victim's lower legs from the ankles to the knees. The device was screwed on each leg. The torturer would then violently pound the wedges with a large, heavy hammer until the flesh and bone was completely destroyed. Next was the heretic's fork. This fork was placed into the flesh under the chin and lower neck over the chest, while the victim's hands were tied behind their back. There was a collar strap that held the fork in place. Next, there was the cleansing of the soul. In many Catholic countries, the clergy believed that the corrupted soul of a damned person could be cleansed by forcing them to consume boiling water, burning coals, or both. This was done to prisoners before they were punished for their crime and was considered a warm-up torture. Next, there was the torture mask of infamy. This mask was designed to bring the victims public ridicule and physical torture. Some of the masks had inner devices like balls, which were forced into the victim's nose or mouth to prevent them from wailing and shrieking. Next, there was the hanging cage. In the hanging cage, most victims were caged completely naked to expose them to the cold or heat. They were often caged after other extreme tortures were administered and were kept in the cage until their death. Next was the Iron Maiden. This was designed with sharp spikes on the inside to pierce different parts of the body, but not to penetrate the vital organs in order to keep the victim alive, hanging upright and suffering as long as possible. The container was very thick, and shrieks and screams could not be heard when the doors were closed. Next was the Christian torture chair, also known as the Inquisition chair, which was used to make unfortunate people confess anything. If the victim told the truth, death